And welcome to Carcon Carne. I'm James Van Osdol. And quick programming note, in the days to come here on Carcon Carne Sunday, it's a Valentine's gift to me. Dwayne Dennison, just this incredible guitarist. You know him from the Jesus Lizard. You know him from Tomahawk. He'll be joining me on Valentine's Day. New Tomahawk album on the way, the first in like 8 years. Then on Monday, the best diver in the history of the sport. That is no exaggeration. This is not hyperbole. Greg Louganis will be joining me on Monday here on Carcon Carne. But right now, we are keeping things about as Chicago as can possibly be. There is so much music clout on this Zoom session, it threatens to bring down the internet. Just going around the room right now, we have two of Chicago's legendary music curators, one from the live music space, the other from the world of TV. These are two guys who are responsible for introducing us to more music than we can quantify. Their passion for music is obvious, it's infectious, it's legendary. Joe Shanahan, owner of Metro, Smart Bar, and Gingerman. And then there's Jerry Bryant, the JB of JBTV. And finally, one of the most significant rock songwriters to come out of Chicago in the last 30 years. He is Scott Lucas of Local H. That band's most recent album, Lifers, is yet another high watermark in an already stellar discography. So much music clout, it's damn near overwhelming, guys. Nice to see you all tonight.
Great to be here.
I see you.
The reason...
Thank you, James, for having us on your podcast this evening. We appreciate that.
Well, I'm always delighted to see all three of you. And the main reason we're here is because this weekend, it is the first virtual festival in Chicago in 2021. It is the JBTV Revolution Television Virtual Festival. 3 days of just jaw-dropping artists doing live performances, stuff from the JBTV archives, which are tremendous and cool. And I think we all would love the excuse to play in the JBTV archives for a while, which we can do this weekend. So with that, let's go right to Jerry Bryant, the titular JB. What's in store for this festival?
Well, we have a lot of great bands on it. How it all started is I've got all these tapes that we digitized and digitally remastered them for the special. So, and they include some of the finest bands in the world, like Local H, Scott Lucas, which was an awesome performance. And we got the Smashing Pumpkins. Let's see, we've got Mayday Parade, Alt J. Now, a lot of these performed on our JBTV HD stage. And Imagine Dragons, Atlas Genius, Frank Turner, Fall Out Boy, Youngblood, Pup, Han, Failure, The Joy Formidable, Sir Sly, Dead Sarah, the Ting Tings, the Wombats, which has an interesting story because my surgeon at Northwestern Hospital, Dr. Michael McGee, loves the band. And during my surgery, he had the Wombats playing. So we had to include them. Charlie XCX, the Struts, Chicago's own Taylor Bennett, Arizona, Gary Newman, Twin Peaks, Grandson, AWOL Nation. It's an action-packed, it's our first ever virtual festival. So
Gary Newman's from Arizona? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's from Arizona. That's right. He does live in Los Angeles now, as I understand, doesn't he?
I think it's having fun here, man.
Yeah,
this is an incredible list of performances.
But you did leave one band out that I have to make issue that
okay.
You have to include them because the Chicago centric aspect of the festival is one of the reasons why I wanted to jump in. And obviously the Pumpkins, Local H, but Twin Peaks is going to be on this too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he said Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I was confused by Arizona and Gary Newman. I'm sure to tell
yeah, you started to zone out by the time you got to Twin Peaks. You're just like, I can't keep it all straight.
There's so much. The tonnage of it all was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, it is Chicago heavy, as we would expect and hope. How long did it take to put all this stuff together and comb through all these performances to kind of figure out what this almost 30 band lineup was going to be?
Well, the biggest thing I think was Michael Harnett, who was working with the record companies to get all the people contacted, make sure everything's cool, So he sort of went through it all. I've been just sort of archiving the tapes, so I've been dealing with the digitation of it, making sure that they're all properly, processed and everything, so they look good on TV. And of course, two of the performances from Chicago's Metro are just incredible with Scott Lucas and Smashing Pumpkins, and those were
hey Jerry, what show is I know that the Pumpkins is the 93 Siamese Dream
yes.
launch, but what is the Local H era? Which
It's the last show that we did with Scott where we had, Scott will tell you because he kept saying he was it was sort of dirty. I don't know if I can say it.
What
What'd you
year?
say, Scott? It was like a
You're
couple
talking
years ago.
2016, right? The
Yeah.
As Good as Dead show.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Scott. Yeah.
And what the fuck did I say that was so dirty?
Well, because you had the two drummers on stage with you.
Yeah.
And you kept saying that you were like the penis or something with the ball. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
right. That was the Two Balls and a Dick tour.
That
Yeah.
was it. Yeah, what a great show. And you know what? At the end, I'm not going to give too much away if you haven't seen it, but at the end, Scott decides to not only do you were like surfing the audience, and on top of it, you're crawling up in the balcony. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Joe loves it when I do that.
Hey, listen, I'm usually following behind him with at least a couple of the bigger security guys to make sure that, no one gets hurt. Mostly Scott,
Right.
remember, he's the only guitar player I know that played Metro that actually went into the sound booth and stood on like the soundboard. Do you remember when you did that? You had your cordless guitar. I remember that you just kept walking around I think it was New Year's Eve. Wasn't it a New Year's Eve show?
That sounds about right. I mean, I got the idea from David Yao, so it's his fault that I did that. So
he's a
dangerous role model.
And who was the bartender that you sang Happy Birthday to, Scott, who was 86 years old at the time?
Kelly Way.
Kelly Way. Absolutely.
Just turned 90. Yeah, she's doing really well.
I think she poured 90 shots of whiskey for Scott and I and all of our friends, and then we toasted and sang Happy Birthday to her. I think it was a big time toast. It was great.
Yeah.
It's such a legendary Metro. It's such a legendary venue to do shows at. As Scott knows, and so does Joe, that I've done hundreds of shows there, it seems like, and every one has been very, very special. And how about you, Scott? When you get on the stage at the Metro, isn't it like it's like a high altar of rock and roll. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, there's something different about the Metro than other venues. And, you don't have to be just from Chicago to feel like that. You can talk to bands that are from all over the place, and, they pick the Metro out. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
There's nothing like Metro. I can't tell you guys, last year, I was able to take my son to his first Metro show. So I'm at that point in life where I get to bring a whole new generation to the venue. At that point, he was probably 17.
Okay, so that's the rite of passage. That's totally an amazing era of a young man or young woman's life, and for them to see a show at a venue the size of Metro, they come in and they like, oh my gosh, it's so big, and then they go to United Center and realize, oh wow, that Metro place is a little intimate club. Hey, I wanted to mention real quick that Scott Lucas is quite. He's a friend, he's a colleague, but. He belongs to a very special club that he has played every decade that the company and the club has been opened. So it's in 80s, 90s, 2000. I mean, I have to say there are only a few that actually could have that crown, so to speak. The local 8 shows at Metro have always been it's nothing but almost friends. We'd all know each other. It could stretch into 2 shows, 3 shows, but we see the same visceral sort of like enjoyment. There's always a party at G-Man Tavern after, or in Smart Bar for that matter. Yeah. But Scott, you've made Metro your laboratory and a place where you've tried a lot of different things, full records. Can you tell me maybe? I mean, New Year's Eve, you've done so many different things here, but I remember you and I talking about a particular show where I think you were trying out some new material, some new songs, and it was like you weren't nervous, but you were like, I'm going to give this a shot. What was that? Do you remember when we talked about that?
That I was nervous?
No, that you were trying some new material.
All of them. I don't remember. I
The
don't.
first time you played, I mean, I gotta remember. I think it was you had just recorded a record. You came in, you said, "I'm gonna try some new stuff tonight. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna wing it." And it was like everybody went bananas for it. And I want to say that was certainly like, like in the last 10 years, as you kind of like, workshop some things sometimes.
Wow, I can't remember. I can't remember that. I mean, like you say, it's like the Metro is not the United Center, but it's also not somebody's living room, and you can't just, unleash 10 new songs that nobody's heard and expect the show not to go south. So we must have had to be feeling pretty comfortable to try something like that,
Yeah.
So
Because you've started some tours at Metro and you've ended some tours at Metro.
right, it's always more fun to end at Metro.
Yeah. You're going to sleep in your own bed.
Right, sort of.
And the
Yeah,
last time
Scott,
you
Scott,
last time
what
you
was the
played
first
Metro
show
was
that
a
we
year ago.
taped?
Was it
Sorry.
what?
What was the first show that we taped with you at the Metro?
You guys recorded that show, I think it was on the Pack Up the Cats tour. And that's really good footage that you guys got. We were really excited because we were like, oh, Jerry's here, and there you were, like right in front of me, right with the camera. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was a big deal.
Yeah, I've run camera for every show, and I edit all the shows too. I'm sort of a, a crazy guy on that part.
Well, Jerry, you're the ultimate fan. I mean, I was on a morning show with Jimmy Chamberlain this morning, and we both came up with the same idea about you. And Scott's just, again, reiterated that, and that is your love for music, your love for live music, is unto yourself. I mean, I have to say that's why someone like myself, and I'm sure Scott, jumped at the chance to be part of the JBTV festival and to, talk about it with James Van Osdale. I mean, clearly, it's a testament to Chicago, your archive and the work that you put in. And that's why, like, I was like so excited to be part of this, because you're one of the biggest fans.
I know, I'm a fan first. I'm not like James Van Osdale, who knows the history of all the bands and everything.
I'm a huge fan. We're all fans. And I mean, I said it at the beginning of this interview, specific to Joe and Jerry, you guys are curators. I mean, I think Scott would agree with me. I mean, growing up in this town, you guys helped shape the stuff we're into, going to Metro. I mean, I remember seeing the Stranglers at Cabaret Metro in like 1987. And that was a transformative moment. I could name any number of shows along the way. I can name any number of videos I saw or performances on JBTV. I mean, you guys are legit curators. And in a world where everything is so algorithmically based, there's such a value that people tend to overlook of real honest to God curation in the world of music. And that curation is done by people who are fans, you guys.
Well, let me just take this real quick. And I just remembered a couple of things about Scott. One, Scott, do you remember when you read the rejection letter that I sent to you from, from you got on stage? Because I used to like review all these tapes and then send letters out to people and say, oh, I'm not so sure this is going to work out at this time. And Scott got a hold of the first letter I sent him. It was a stay in touch, but he read it on stage. And I have to say, I think the playfulness that Metro's been able to sort of like have with artists and bands, it turns into like a more relaxed or fun atmosphere that Jerry's been able to pick up on film, etc. But I also just wanted to remark that at the beginning of the pandemic, Scott was one of the first bands to step up, and we did a concert, basically a show on the sidewalk of Metro with the SOS Save Our Stages message behind the band. It was just incredible, Scott. If you remember that day, and that seems like so long ago now, but it was about a year ago, and we are not even. It was springtime, but do you remember that? And you did what? You did 3 or 4 songs?
Yeah, I think we did a couple, and you had us right out there on the sidewalk, and it was good. It was fun. You know, I'm
So
glad we were
because
there. And
because
not
we,
just,
we couldn't come in the venue, and
right.
you were like, let's just do it right here under the marquee. And it was like, again, the relationship between the club, the artist, the promoter, you know, you as a singer songwriter, and I just love that playfulness, and we came up with something really cool. That's what that's what we do.
One of the silver linings I've found over the past 11 months, and I've looked for them really long and hard, is that people by and large want to help. So when Scott did things like that through the year, it reaffirmed my belief that people just want to do right by each other. And I think we see this with Civil, Save Our Stages. We all want to do right by the people who we love and think nice things about and who do great things for us. I think there's a lot of good out there. And that example that Joe just gave, I think, is a great example.
Yeah, but it's also been like the audience. The audience has completely blown me away. And, you know, like all the GoFundMe's that people have been putting up for different clubs and people donating to Civil. And, you know, all these things that people have been doing this past year have been really kind of, when you contrast that with all the ugliness that you see day in, day out on television and, you know, online with people and what they're actually doing, it kind of really gets to me. You know, it's kind of amazing. Like people have really stepped up for us personally as a band too. We wouldn't have been able to survive this year without the audience that, you know, listens to our band and buys our records and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing.
So I just wanted to tag off that real quickly, James, and say that, you know, another part of the JBTV Revolution Festival, the virtual festival that happens Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. You know, when Michael and Jerry came to me, they invited us to create this charity and this benefit for the Chicago Independent Venue League, Civil. And we turned it into the Chicago Independent Venue League Save Fund, SAVE. Those funds that we'll raise from selling the $12 ticket for the single day pass or the $22 ticket for the 3-day VOD pass, that money will go to helping the staff that I've had to furlough from Metro and all of the Civil members. There's 70,000 people that have been affected by the furlough, the stoppage of work, the stoppage of concerts, and Civil leading the Chicago way here. The funds will go to the venues, the staff, and the artists that have been affected by the pandemic. It also, in turn, helps NIVA, NIVA, which is the National Independent Venue Association. And so that is like 2,000 members nationwide. They're a big part of the reason why the SOS, Save Our Stages, and or the SVOG, the Shuttered Venues Operators Grants, that is coming, the help that's coming from Washington that has been passed through Congress and the Senate, and actually signed by our last president. And we're waiting for the funds. We're still not funded yet, but those funds are coming. This is also part of the way to, you know, continue to support the venues, the staff. I mean, you know, Scott's girlfriend, fiance, is a bartender at the G-Man Tavern and at Metro. I mean, she's been out of work. I mean, everybody's got a side hustle right now, but I think about the staff more so than I think about myself in this situation because of the fact that they've really been hard hit. The sound men, the lighting people, the hospitality people. I mean, the bus drivers. I mean, across the board, the mechanics of our industry is massive. We're not just a cultural engine; we're an economic engine, and that has literally had a stop. So I appreciate, Jerry, you and Michael coming to us and offering us the ability to raise funds for Civil and for NIVA through this weekend. I can't even thank you enough.
Well, we're doing it for a good cause, and it means so much to keep these venues going and to keep the people around it going because they're the lifeblood of the music community throughout the United States and especially here in Chicago. There's also Nordoff Robbins, which is the UK's largest music therapy charity, which is part of this too. And I like music therapy, as you know, Joe. We both have our things with cancer, and music has been a good part of my recovery, and I'm sure yours too.
Yes, that's very true, Jerry. And the interesting thing is that, and Scott, I think you know this, is that again, I've always looked at things like I like to think globally but act locally. And this is a very, very good example. I mean, this will be a global event. This will be in Europe as well as America. The times for the festival are on the website, JBTV Festival, also on metrochicago.com, civil.com. But as I said, I think that, Jerry, to your point, we need live music. This is a way to sort of experience some of the live shows that happened in the last 20 years. But also, you have a ton of studio stuff, right? And like maybe
Oh,
outtakes,
yeah.
B-rolls. We love those. We love those JBTV episodes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we got a little behind the scenes segment with BTS. You know, BTS, when they came to our little studio, was their first television appearance in America, and it was like having the Beatles come into the United States, but it was sort of a private show, and there were still people that showed up outside when they found out about it, and they
Are they
literally
related
played on.
Are they related to BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive?
Yes.
No. They're that boy band from South Korea. So no, they came in and was like their first small stage that they ever performed on. And it's sort of something we just did it, to be a little different, I guess. And then they blew up right after that. So that's a little story there. But all the bands, we've had so many great, what's nice about JBTV, I have a private small studio by invite only. So the only people that usually show up for these shows are the fans of the band. And that means so much to be there, and Scott's played on our stage at least 2 or 3 times too. So, you know how it is, Scott, to be that close to everybody. It's not like on the, the Metro stage, but
Yeah, it's a much deader room. I mean, I know that's the technical term, but yeah, you can hear somebody whispering in the corner in that room. That's pretty crazy.
So a 3-day festival, and it's shot by JBTV. So that means it's going to look great. It's going to sound great. Tomorrow, February 12th, Fall Out Boy, Imagine Dragons, Local H from 5 years ago, Frank Turner, Alt J, Atlas Genius, Bad Sons. That could, if that were it for the entire weekend, we'd be good. That's night one. It just keeps going.
Like it's 30 bands. It's like 20 hours of music. And with the VOD pass that you get for the 3-day pass, you can watch it for up to a week, right, Jerry?
Yes.
So
it's all good cause.
It doesn't cost much, and it's for a great cause. February 13th, the Struts, you got the Wombats. There's a story there apparently. Failure, Sir Sly, the Ting Tings, the Joy Formidable. Day 3 has the Pumpkins. Oh, the Pumpkins is the Siamese Dream show from Metro.
Right.
Yes.
God,
I actually introduced the show.
that's amazing.
Yes.
Right, Jerry?
Yes,
I think I actually do the chores of introducing the band.
Yes, a while back I had some interviews with you, Joe, and you talk so highly of so many different bands, and that was one I just sort of dug out.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Well, again, we're in a city that has such great music and so many great artists, and we have a lot more. We could do a few more festivals maybe during the year, because I have like 5,000 tapes literally in my house here in my closet, packed everywhere.
And yeah,
Hey, Jerry, one of the things that we talked about, I don't know, years ago, but and Scott knows this too. Like, we are fans of music, and that's probably why we continue to do what we're doing. And Metro will be celebrating its 40th anniversary in 2022, and I plan to be open. And I think about some of the things I would stumble through JBTV. And I remember one that I just totally blows my mind. I've told you about this, is the Joey Ramone moment, and because I was such a Ramones fan. I mean, Metro, kind of is what it is because I was a Ramones fan. I used to road trip for the Ramones and road trip for Cheap Trick. Those were the 2 bands. So between those two, kind of makes up a little bit of my musical DNA. And what was that story about Joey when he came to the studio and stuff?
Well, he would come to our studio and he would say, nobody in the band wants me to talk. And he came twice to our JBTV studio, and he would sit there and talk for an hour or so, and we'd play his music videos, and he would tell all kinds of stories. He had a really cool story that he was talking about a cab driver that was crazy in New York, and you know, and then I made fun of him because, you know, he sounds a bit like Howard Stern. Joey Malone did. And I said, you know, Joey, you know, Howard Stern's stealing your whole thing. But yeah, it was a good time talking to him because, you know, he said nobody would ever let him talk in the band. And I don't know why, but so
nobody in the band wanted Joey Ramone to talk.
That's what he would say. Yeah. It was like
Johnny. It was all Johnny.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The Ramones are one of the 2 loudest bands I've ever seen in concert. That is no exaggeration. What's the loudest show you guys have seen?
Got
Alice in Chains.
There have been so many shows at the Metro that are nice and loud, let me tell you. Because you, Joe, you have the best sound too. You put so much effort. I remember at the beginning how you would be buying another console and you go, I need more speakers and everything. You've really made the club special for sound. And that means so much when you go to clubs, because a lot of times you go to some places and the sound, if it isn't right, it really isn't good for the band or anybody, you know. But when the sound is perfect, it just means it's good.
Well,
yeah, the Primal's loud. That Primal Scream show at the Metro when they toured Exterminator,
super loud.
And I may have taken a couple of things at that, and they just, as the show was going on, he just kept turning it up louder and louder and louder, and I think he took your system as far as it could possibly go. And I was freaking out.
Okay, so that's where I step in. Okay, so loudest shows that I've been to, and I'm gonna focus on Metro, because there's some other ones that I've experienced in other places, but no doubt about it, Motorhead.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I was going to say
literally, Jolly and I were on stage and we were looking at the lighting truss, and there was dust coming out of the lighting truss. They basically, every dust bunny was gone. After I mean, the stage was like full of plaster because it literally was shaking the foundation of the room. So that's one. Second one has to be, and Corrigan can attest to this as well, My Bloody Valentine and Dinosaur Jr. Just got, remember this one? Yeah. I mean, it was like a jet plane taking off for like 90 minutes, and then they came back and another band did 90 minutes of the same absolute complete loud, beautiful noise. Remember, the PA at that time was the PA that I picked up from Prince, because Prince had built a PA and didn't like it the way that the boxes were too big, so he sold it on like 10 cents on the dollar. And my friend worked for Prince at the time, and I bought Prince's PA, which helped me get Prince a little bit later down the road. But I will say that those 3 shows really stand out. But for the band that actually did blow up the system, and they told me they were going to blow it up, LCD Sound System. James Murphy told me, Joe, I'm going to blow up your system tonight, and just charge me. Right. It was a $5,000 like moment for him. I was like, his sound guy just kept turning it up, and then eventually it was just like, it just quit.
One bass drop too many.
There you go.
It's funny, right before you said My Bloody Valentine, Bobby Telemine, who I'm sure we all know, said the same thing. Like he said, definition of loud is what he said.
That show's legendary. That Dinosaur Jr. My Bloody Valentine one.
I think we did a dB test on that one, and I think we were at about 127 dB, which is
nothing.
I think Motorhead might have been louder.
Might have been.
The time I saw Motorhead in a clubbish type show, it was physically oppressive.
Yeah,
where you feel the bass like punching you in the chest.
Yeah, visceral. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to the point where you're thinking, I don't know if I'm even enjoying this right now because this hurts me.
Right.
All right, so this weekend it's happening. The JBTV Revolution Television Virtual Festival, more than 25 bands. proceeds are going to the right place. This look, as we're talking right now, it is snowing again in Chicago. It is cold. This is the worst part of winter. We're all going to be home this weekend. This is what we should be doing. This is what I will encourage people to do. If you're a music fan, this is a no-brainer.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I do
Okay.
too.
All right. So if people want to get in on this, Jerry Bryant of JBTV, of the JBTV Revolution Television Virtual Festival, where do they get their tickets?
Just go online at JBTV. And where else can we get those, Joe?
I think it's all through you, my friend. I think that you're I think it's called Tickster is your ticket company, and all of it goes directly to the three charities we mentioned: Civil, NIVA, and Nordic Robbins. All very worthwhile charities, beneficiaries, and then within that, especially with the Civil, is the Civil Save Fund. Those dollars will go to the staff, the venues, and the artists that are currently without work. It's an ambitious project. I would, certainly love to see, 10,000 of these tickets sold. It would be my dream if we got to that number. I think that's possible. I know that Ryan Arnold from DeSoto has taken on a lot of the PR and the media challenge here. Michael Harnett, Jerry Bryant himself, you guys we're all promoting this, even Scott coming on today. I messaged him this afternoon. I said, we're going to do this. I'm game if you are. Everybody is feeling like, it's a good thing to, like Scott had said, like almost a silver lining. We're seeing such, with the impeachment trials and everything else, that all this evil and all this really recklessness that's going on in our lives and our world. Here we are, we're doing a music festival, and we're giving money to people that really, really need it. I couldn't say that I'd be proud enough to be part of something so noble. And Jerry and Michael, thank you for bringing this to life and including everybody here.
Well, that was our goal, to help people. And we were thinking of different ways to do it. And we figured, hey, we got the archive. Let's try this, And it's all digitally remastered. So it's like seeing it all new again, And so hopefully everybody will enjoy it. And with the pass, they can watch it all week. So,
Yeah,
That's cool.
All right, so
the pass is the way to go. I have to say, for like $20, whatever ticketing fees are on top of that. I don't know exactly what the fees are on it, Jerry, but probably for under $30, you're going to have 30 hours of music. If you do the math, I have to say that's a pretty good deal. But even if you got the pass and you're making dinner, you could be listening to Gary Newman from Arizona.
well, and we're in this world where we've all maxed out. There's nothing left to watch. So in this oasis of entertainment, here you are providing relief. It's like you're giving medicine to the sick all weekend by giving us 30 hours of music. It's going to be awesome. So
that's beautiful, James. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I love and adore you all. I really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
We love it being here. Thank you for putting us on.